Thokozani Gogonganyezi here. I just thought I would hop on real quick and talk to you guys a little bit about heightening your spiritual connection to your ancestors and your spirit guides. Right, so guys, we know the basics of ancestral veneration and connection with your spirit guides. We know about having your candles, having your water, having your sage to cleanse your space, and having some sort of earth element around you, be it some tobacco, be it cigarettes. We know our people loved, our ancient people used tobacco for sacred ceremonies, for sacred rituals, right? So we have that down pack. So the question then is, go. I've been doing this veneration stuff and I'm not hearing anything from my people. Well, there's several things you can start to look at. The first things you need to start to look at are on you as a person. Number one, there's certain diets that block the chakras. There's certain diets that are heavy in things that cause you to vibrate really low. Now, one thing you have to remember is in order to get messages, in order to get messaging and hear it, you have to vibrate at a higher frequency. Your ancestors are not going to vibrate at where you are. You have to vibrate to where they are so that you can access them. Does that make sense? So it's not that your ancestors are quiet and aren't talking to you. They might be. But most likely, if you're petitioning them, they are responding to you, but you are vibrating so low, you are missing the messages. And on top of that, a lot of people's diets and how they eat are causing them all manner of problems. Once your physical body is misaligned through disease, through things like indigestion, it messes your dream state. So another thing that you can do for yourself is try to make your last meal of the day before 6 p.m. or around 6 p.m. That way, when you go to bed, your digestive tract is empty and your sleep is not disturbed by a digesting gut. Remember what I've always said, the gut takes up about 70% of energy when it comes to food digestion. So if you're going to bed heavy with issues of digestion, that's going to mess up your dreams for starters. Most people usually have nightmares if they go to bed and they are suffering indigestion. It really can mess up your dream state. And that's one of the ways in which spirit, meaning your ancestors and spirit guides, speaks to you is through your dreams. So you might want to look at that diet somewhat and clean it up. I'm not here to tell people what to eat or what to not eat. But I think it is common knowledge that a diet that has less meat and less dairy in it is a diet that is conducive to a higher spiritual vibration. So that's one reason that things may not be turning out the way you want them to. The other thing is your thought patterns can cause you to vibrate very low. This is why working on your mindset is also a very important thing. Personal development and spirituality go hand in hand, guys. If you are a person who habitually thinks negative thoughts, if you are because negative thoughts become things. Once you start to think negative thoughts, your emotions that are invoked are negative. Once your emotions are negative, you're vibrating low. Not only does that cause you not to vibrate high enough to hear your spirit guides and your ancestors, but here's something that a lot of people don't know is that when you have negative vibration and you're vibrating in a negative way, you attract negative spiritual entities. Some people then are like, why do I have weird spiritual entities following me all over the place? Well, that's because that low vibration where you're at, that's where they dwell. So they think we found a playmate when you're vibrating down there in that place. And I use the low, high, low because that's visually what people understand. But trust me when I say that switching your mindset so that most times your default setting is thinking positive thoughts. Your default setting is being somebody who lives in gratitude rather than ingratitude. Your default setting is being able to celebrate other people instead of feeling jealous. If those are your default settings, what that means is anytime a negative thought comes up, we're all human. Anytime a negative emotion comes up, you can self-talk quickly enough to switch that thought process and turn it positive. So how do you do this? You could be moving around on a particular day and somebody at work pisses you off. You were having a perfectly fine day until they did that thing. Well, if your default setting is generally happy, generally positive, generally optimistic, generally loving, generally kind and generous, it doesn't take long for you to switch very quickly. Go to gratitude. Look at this person and realize that this person has got their issues and that the way they're treating you in that moment has nothing to do with you and everything to do with whatever demons they're fighting. The minute you can think quickly like that and switch your thought process to gratitude and all those wonderful things, you may experience a blip in your vibration going down, but you bounce back up. So your default setting is high vibration at all times. Another thing that could be causing you not to be able to hear your ancestors, to access your ancestors, is the company you keep. You'll find that a lot of spiritual people actually like solitude. A lot of spiritual people like to be by themselves. A lot of spiritual people don't like being media junkies, especially because the media, people around them, or people in general, tend to be negative. And so if you're dealing on a daily basis with this kind of negativity, it really does affect your vibration. It will affect whether you can hear your ancestors or not, particularly as you're getting ready to go to bed. I always advise my mentees that before you go to bed, give yourself 10 minutes to self-cleanse. What does that mean? When I say self-cleanse, I mean cleansing yourself, your thought patterns, getting yourself ready to go to sleep in a receptive state so that if there's any messaging for you, it can come through. One of the other ways in which you can enhance your hearing is the use of herbs. I drink impepo tea, you can drink sage tea, you can drink mugwort tea. But these in and of themselves and by themselves are not going to cause you to hear from your ancestors. If you have a negative thought pattern, if you go to bed feeling angry, you drink mugwort tea, you're probably going to have some messed up dreams that you're going to wake up thinking, what the hell was that all about? Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Your spiritual work, your spiritual journey is yours and yours alone. You got to do that work. You've got to set aside that time for meditation. That's another way in which you can enhance your vibration and make sure you're constantly vibrating high. You can't be doing major yo-yos like this, where you spend weeks in a trough, right? Or even days in this low vibration, because it takes a lot of energy to get you back up vibrating. So most of you are spending a lot of time vibrating low as opposed to making high vibration your default setting. And it all starts here in your mind. Everything that happens around you, you have the power to control how you respond or react to it. Matter of fact, you should be responding, not reacting, because it's the reacting that causes you to yo-yo up and down. And even in manifestation of wealth or whatever it is you're manifesting, if your energies are constantly going like this, you're confusing the universe. Your default should be high vibration. Sometimes a dip, but very quickly you're bouncing back up to vibrating high again. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of consistency. And you've got to ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Why are you on this spiritual journey? I mean, that's a basic question you need to ask yourself. Like, what was my life like before I started on this journey? And what's my incentive for continuing on this journey? These are very good questions to ask yourself, because sometimes we get caught in the details of this thing. You literally forget why you began this in the first place. It's important to keep conscious and to stay in touch with yourself. Hey, Marvena. Hey, Risa. Thank you, guys. It's important, right? So that's another thing. Like I said, be careful what you're consuming, both mentally, spiritually, and physically. Prime your body, prime your mind to be receptive. And then the other thing is, your ancestors, listen, guys, your ancestors get tired of, can I have, I'm not hearing you, I'm not hearing you. How about once in a while, you pour some libation? Just because. Just to say thank you. just to say, I am humbling myself before you, just to say, I have the deepest respect for you, just to say, thank you that I can breathe in and out. I am because you are. How about, right? Get your bottles, go outside, light your sage, light a candle, and pour some libation and be grateful. So I hope those tips have helped you guys. Look, I can give all the tips I want. In this group, we have a lot of resources about a lot of things. We have spiritual baths. We have the use of crystals to balance your energies. We have all sorts of things. But if you are not putting them in practice, there's no miracle here. You got to do the work. So I love you guys so much. Please take good care of yourselves and catch you soon.